Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy and that you find as much joy in our services as I do. I've been distancing at home, so I look forward to Sunday service so we can reconnect and worship together. Though we are apart physically, we're certainly proving that we're not alone by coming together in spirit. I welcome you this morning to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northern Nevada, where our mission is to grow together in love, faith, justice, and joy. My name is Carrie DeBarger, and I'm so grateful to be your worship associate on this last Sunday of November. We have asked everyone to stay home and view or hear us on your personal devices via this Zoom call. Know that we still welcome all to be part of our community, regardless of racial identity, age, economic circumstances, immigration status, sexual orientation, or gender identity. Because it is important now more than ever to come together, accept people, and be kind to those around you. If this is your first time at a UUFNN service, welcome. We're glad to have you. Feel free to contact our office for more information or our website where you can also download a newcomer form. You can sign up for our newsletter to stay up to date on all the activities here at UUFNN. You may notice on the top of your screen there's a speaker or gallery view option. You can switch back and forth throughout the service to view as you like. You can make comments in the chat box at any time, specifically during joys and concerns. Immediately after the service, we'll open breakout rooms for a virtual coffee hour in small groups. For today's service, we ask that you have a piece of paper and something to write with, as well as your own chalice. Once again, thank you for being here.
We gather this morning for our 5th Sunday, Day of Action, a day when we dedicate our Sunday morning worship time to putting our faith into practice. Doing justice is part of the legacy of our Unitarian and Universalist religious roots. Our collective work in bending the arc of the moral universe towards justice is how we show our UU beliefs. And so this morning, we will practice our principles together. I invite you to light a chalice this morning with me. Our words are from the Reverend Dr. Hope Johnson, a minister whose life shaped Unitarian Universalism in profound ways, and who truly showed how one might live their UU values. Hope died yesterday, and we share her words to honor her legacy. We are one. a diverse group of proudly kindred spirits here not by coincidence, but because we choose to journey together. We are active and proactive. We care deeply. We live our love as best we can. We are one, working, eating, laughing, playing, singing, storytelling, sharing, and rejoicing, getting to know each other, taking risks and opening up, questioning, seeking, searching, trying to understand, struggling, making mistakes, paying attention, asking questions, listening, living our answers, learning to love our neighbors, learning to love ourselves, apologizing and forgiving with humility, being forgiven through grace, and creating the beloved community together. We are one. Many months ago, we began making plans for this Sunday's Day of Action. The idea we had with our community partners was to use this day to focus our attention on reconnecting to the land on which we live. Our plan, envisioned with local leader Beverly Harry, was to journey together to the sacred lands at Pyramid Lake and spend time reflecting on our relationship to water and to the healing of the land. Although the pandemic made it unsafe for us to journey to Pyramid Lake today, we wanted to make sure that we still focused our attention on our earth, especially because being connected to the land is still something we are capable of doing during the pandemic, and is perhaps even more important while we are physically distant from one another. You'll hear two different stories this morning of our connection to the earth, both stories of justice that emerge from our historical insistence on arbitrary boundaries, borders, and ownership of land, of which it is not ours to make decisions. And then after those stories, we will take action on both.
Good morning, my friends. I'm a member of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northern Nevada's Borderlands Justice Team. We've been meeting over the past year, working on actions to support undocumented and formerly undocumented members of our community. The Borderlands Justice Team formed as a result of our Unitarian Universalist College of Social Justice trip to Arizona in 2019 to learn about the realities of those seeking safe haven and a better life in the U.S. During our time in Arizona, we learned about the realities we learned about the U.S. immigration policies and their impact on people coming to the U.S. to seek shelter from abuse and violence and to find work to feed their families. The companies in the U.S. have recruited people to work here for decades. Immigration policies no longer exist to allow immigrants to become citizens as they may have many decades ago. Very few people can immigrate as our ancestors did decades ago. Policies have changed dramatically over the years. From the reading that I did before and since traveling to Arizona, I've learned more about the intersectionality of undocumented immigrants and Indigenous peoples. As with many things, if not everything, it is complicated. Think about how North America was before the Europeans came to the continent. There weren't borders like there are now, and some that did exist for the U.S. were much further north than they are now. Perhaps you've heard the phrase, "They didn't cross the border crossed them," in reference to Mexicans who found themselves living in Mexico one day and the United States the next. While this weekend is a time to be thankful, it's also a time to remember the impact of colonization on Indigenous peoples. Europeans came and claimed the land for themselves, moved people away from their homelands, decimated their way of life, and killed many of them. As I mentioned, the Borderlands Justice Team has been meeting monthly, working on a few projects. We have a project to collect oral histories of current and formerly undocumented people. We want to learn about the realities of being undocumented in our community. We will use these stories to share with our community and elected officials with hopes of changing policies and improving lives. We're doing this project with the Women and Children Center of the Sierras and Action, Acting in Community Together and Organizing Northern Nevada. We hope to include other local organizations soon. Second, we'll be doing a survey to learn about the various languages that our members and friends speak here at UUFNN. We want to find out who might be able to help the members of our community. Third, we are writing letters to elected officials and letters to the editor. Our team is doing this as well as inviting all of you to join in becoming educated about the issues and writing letters. One of the issues that we can address with our elected officials is to ask them to close detention facilities, including ones like the Irwin County Detention Center in Georgia. You may have heard about them recently because they've been in the news. A whistleblower let others know that they have been conducting unnecessary surgeries, including sterilizations of undocumented women without their consent. These actions by our government to separate families, conduct unnecessary surgeries, force people to stay in unsafe situations during COVID times, and make border crossing even more dangerous are disgraceful. These are certainly not in line with our UU values. We hope you'll join us in writing letters and consider joining the Borderlands Justice Team.
name is Amara Keller. I'm Paiute, Paiute woman from Bishop or Paiute, where the water flows. My family comes from Benton or Utu, hot water, the place of hot water, and also Tobo Wahamatu, Big Pine area, and I feel good. I'm with a group of Indigenous women, mostly Mahupi, which are Paiute women, walking along what is known as today as the John Muir Trail, but these trails predate John Muir, so we're calling it the Numupoyo, which is the People's Trail.
Manahu, Inaniene, Jolie Varela, Numunu, Paiuhunaru Yesh, Tuli River, Nukimadu. My name is Jolie Varela. I am Tuli River Yoka in Paiute, and I come from the land of flowing water. I founded Indigenous Women Hike last year in May, and it started because I was trying to figure out how to bring the sacred fire home to my community from Standing Rock. When we travel without permits, we're saying that these are our ancestral homelands, and we've been a part of these lands for thousands of years, and we don't need a piece of paper that allows us to travel through them in ceremony.
So for me, it was really important to be a part of this journey, to be standing here with other Numu women and other women who are in solidarity with this movement. This is a huge movement where women are moving throughout the land like we always have. The healing of a community does begin with the healing of women. And for us to be able to move through these lands, to reconnect and to really strengthen our connection to these areas, it helps us to remember our ancestors who walked before us, and we feel the strength of our ancestors. We feel the prayers from everyone back home in our communities. We feel that, and we carry that with us as we walk and as we hike. We just have to think about the ones who walked before us, think about all of the people who are praying for us, and think about the future generations who are going to walk after us. And that's what really gives us power and strength. And that's how we've been able to move. Our identity is directly connected to the land, and our people have been disconnected from these areas. When our people were placed on reservations, we were removed from our ancestral territories. And this is our ancestral territory that we're standing in now. And we've been able to talk to people and have conversations on the trail and remind them that these are still our ancestral territories and that we are still here.
When I originally chatted with Beverly Harry in planning our time at Pyramid Lake, she was insistent that our communities, and by that she meant non-Indigenous communities, need to better understand how we might connect with the land. As she said, the earth has a right to justice. Of course, as Unitarian Universalists, we believe that too. But Beverly's reminder was about finding ways that we can be better at recognizing how we continue perpetuating inaccurate and harmful stories about land, and then finding authentic ways to reconnect. That's why I wanted to share the work of Indigenous Women's Hike. These local leaders embarked on this hike, both to reconnect themselves to their ancestral land and also to educate others about how even just calling a trail the John Muir Trail allows white colonizers to claim land that is not meant to be owned. Jolie Varela founded the Indigenous Women Hike in part as a path to healing from those harmful stories. In the video, you saw Autumn Harry, who is a local leader and daughter of Beverly, who will work with us when we once again plan our journey to Pyramid Lake. Autumn says that the hike helped them to reconnect more deeply to the land and to connect with both the ancestors who had walked those paths before and to think of the future generations who will walk here after. In an interview with Jolie Varela, the founder of Indigenous Women Hike, she reminds us that all land is sacred and you should come with that attitude when you visit the land. She said that a starting point would be for other people to do their research before they even go to these places, for us to do our research, to know who the first people of those lands are and gather some history that predates colonialism on the lands that you're going to be traveling through. And so that is what we will begin doing today.
This is the time in our service when we begin sharing our bounty with each other through the offering. Since we're not physically together to pass the basket, we can do so virtually by texting the number 73256 with the message UUFNN. Then follow the instructions to provide your offering. You can also contribute by mailing a check to the office at 780 Del Monte Lane, Reno 89511. The slickest and cleanest way to donate is to sign up for automatic giving. You can do so by contacting the office, where Carol will send you an automatic draft authorization form. You can also include your Share the Plate recipient, Nevada Youth Empowerment, in your offerings. You can designate on your check or in giving by text. To provide multiple donations, click the Add Another Fund button. And when contributing to Share the Plate via text, be sure to use the drop-down arrow to select Nevada Youth Empowerment if that is where you'd like your donation to go. Thank you for your generosity. I've grown up in this congregation, and I know it is a safe place for me to express my beliefs and be heard and respected. Being a part of UU has shaped me into who I am today and opened my eyes to a world of opportunity, and I hope to continue to be an active member of our congregation for many years to come. For this reason, it is so important to me that we keep the UUFNN up and running. It is in these hard times when the strength of our congregation really shines through. I'm so proud of all of us for coming together to help our community and bend the arc of the universe, all while staying safe. And I'm eternally grateful for the staff and volunteers working so hard behind the scenes to keep the wheels turning as we move through this time together. Thank you to everyone who has stepped forward to make sure our fellowship is financially secure in these uncertain times. We are aware that there are some who cannot make a financial commitment at this time because of the current situation, so I urge those of you who can to please contribute beyond your pledge. I'm feeling positive that with all of us stepping up, we will be stronger than ever. Thank you for taking care of our beloved community. Now let the offering begin. Please join me in dedicating the offering to the work of this fellowship, which is helping more people grow in love, faith, justice, and joy. We dedicate ourselves and these our offerings.
In just a moment, you will be invited into small groups to take action on both issues that we discussed today. For the first half of your time, you will be asked to begin or continue your process of connecting to the land, as Jolie Varela asks us to do. In your groups, you will reflect together on what you can do to deepen your connection to the land, and you will explore an app called Native Land that will help you begin your process of connecting to ancestral land, no matter where you are. We are putting some questions in the chat now that you can use during your discussion. You can take a picture of these right now so that you'll have these in your group discussions, but they will also still be available in the chat box for you to find while you're in your discussions. Then for the second half of your time together in groups, you will be writing letters to elected officials, asking them to prioritize the immigration justice that Jackie spoke so passionately about. And we are now sharing sample talking points for you that are being added into the chat box as well. And you can also take a picture of these, or they will be available in the chat as well. So the first half, you're going to be talking about your connection to the land with the discussion questions. And then the second half, you'll be writing letters to your elected officials about immigration justice. And remember, when writing your letters, to use the prompts that we give you, but to really put them into your own words. After you get into your groups, we will give you a time reminder when you should switch from your land discussion to your letter writing. And after our time in groups, after the time in our groups, we will come back together again to finish our service. And now let us begin our time of action. So if you are able to share that recording with someone who might need that connection, please do so. Our Verdi Posse continues to live out our values by providing meals in our community. And you can check the e-announce for ways that you can support that work. And it is also time to plan on supporting UUFNN's future. The Legacy Fund Committee reminds you that now is the time to decide to donate a year-end amount to increase your tax-deductible charitable contribution, or to donate your required minimum distribution from your individual retirement account. The time is now, because it takes time after communicating your decision to your fund agent for your wishes to be followed. We are the source for the growth of UUFNN's endowment fund, the security of our future. Please make your donation to UUFNN Legacy Fund. And many thanks for that. And as you know, and have hopefully been seeing in the e-announce, we are offering more and more creative ways of coming together over the holiday season. There are still opportunities for hosting an event. If you would like to, please just send the information to me. Some of the many events that we are offering are a Zoom circle happy hour, a Hanukkah celebration, an ugly sweater gathering with cocktails. We'll also have a white elephant gift exchange, as well as our UUFNN holiday party on December 13th after the service, and our Polar Express party also after the service on December 20th. And lastly, I want to tell you about our Ribbon of Joy. It has been hung for the year. In the chat, you will find directions for taking a tag off of the ribbon with all of the details for purchasing gifts for families in our community. We are once again partnering with the Women and Children's Center of the Sierra to provide gifts for the holidays. I hope that you'll stay on after our postlude for coffee hour and small group conversations. And now we have our closing song and closing words before we will gather together in coffee hour.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we cry. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what returning we shall learn to lead in love.
Friends, will you please join me with outstretched hands so that we can connect to one another even in our physical distance? Yesterday, in honor of the passing of Reverend Dr. Hope Johnson, her friend Jude Geiger offered these words, which I think are applicable for all of us as we strive to practice, really practice our values in the world. May we each support one another in striving towards this. Jude says, "In your passing, where I have been fierce, I will be fiercer. Where I have been kind, I will be kinder. Where I have been gracious, I will be more gracious." May we each strive to be fiercer, more kind, more gracious. May it be so.